So picture this. You're sitting on your couch watching an English movie.
Oh, I already know where this is going.
Right. You've got your popcorn, the subtitles are off, and you are feeling like genuinely confident.
Because you've put in the work.
Exactly. You've studied the vocabulary, you know the grammar, but then the actors actually start speaking.
And it all falls apart.
Completely. Suddenly, what was supposed to be this relaxing evening turns into an overwhelming wall of just muddy noise. Your brain completely freezes.
Yeah, the dialogue just rushes right past you.
And you are left sitting there thinking, what on earth did they just say?
It is a moment of pure visceral panic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all been there. And the fascinating thing is it happens to almost everyone.
It really does.
Because you transition from this very controlled classroom environment to the chaotic reality of situational learning.
Situational learning.
Yeah, like hearing the language out in the wild. And suddenly, all that textbook knowledge just feels completely useless.
Yeah.
The brain simply locks up.
It's a very specific kind of cognitive bottleneck, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So why does an advanced language learner, someone who can read a whole novel in English, suddenly lose the ability to understand a basic, everyday sentence spoken by a native speaker?
It's a great question.
Well, today our mission for this deep dive is to unpack exactly why that auditory illusion happens, and more importantly, the cognitive tricks you can use to decode it in real time.
We are pulling from a highly pragmatic piece of source material today. It's a video script from the DFY Channel titled, Why You Can't Understand Native English, 3 Easy Fixes.
3 easy fixes. I like the sound of that.
Right. What makes this script so valuable is that it doesn't just throw more vocabulary at you.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, instead it identifies the physiological and acoustic reasons behind that movie-watching brain freeze. And then it offers real structural solutions.
So it's about changing how you listen, not just what you know.
Exactly.
All right, so we are going to break down 3 specific secrets from this text. Techniques that promise to transform fast, intimidating spoken English into something, easy and manageable.
Let's get into it.
Let's unpack the first one. The text frames this as breaking the illusion of every word. The fundamental rule here is stop trying to listen to every single word.
Which is so hard to do.
Right. Instead, the goal is to listen only for the big words.
And that is completely counterintuitive to how languages are traditionally taught.
Oh, totally.
Because in a classroom, you are penalized for missing a preposition or an article. Your brain is trained to assign equal weight to every single syllable.
Because you're reading them on a page, right, where every word has its own distinct physical space.
Precisely. But spoken language just doesn't work like that.
It makes me think about, is this basically like packing a suitcase for a weekend trip?
Oh, how so?
Like you don't pack your entire closet, you don't bring a heavy winter coat for a summer beach trip just because you own it.
Right.
You pack the essential items that actually make the trip work. The shirt, the pants, the shoes.
That is a perfect analogy. In a spoken sentence, the big words, so the nouns, the main verbs, the key adjectives, those are your essential clothes.
Okay.
And the grammatical filler, the articles, the auxiliary verbs, those are just the packing peanuts.
Packing peanuts. I love that.
They keep things structured in the box, but they aren't the items you actually wear. If you spend all your cognitive energy obsessing over the packing peanuts, you're going to miss your flight entirely.
Let's look at the specific example the DFY Channel script uses here, just to demonstrate this. The sentence is, I am going to the supermarket to buy milk.
Okay, so if you are an English learner and a native speaker fires that sentence off at full conversational speed.
Which is fast.
Very fast.
Okay.
Think about the cognitive load required to process it linearly. Your brain hears I, and it translates it.
Right.
Here's am, translates it. Here's going, translates it.
By the time you get to the word the, your working memory is just completely maxed out.
Exactly. Your brain buffer is just full of, I am going to, and meanwhile, the speaker has already moved on to their next point.
You've exhausted your mental bandwidth on the grammatical framing.
You really have.
Yeah.
But if we apply the source materials rule, what are the only words that actually carry the core, undeniable meaning of that sentence?
Well, looking at the text, it isolates just 3 words. Supermarket, buy, milk.
By heavy lifters.
So wherever you are listening right now, I want you to try this. Repeat after me. Supermarket.
Good.
Buy. Milk.
If your brain only catches those 3 pillars, supermarket, buy, milk, You instantly grasp the entire transaction.
You don't need, I'm going to know that someone is, getting dairy at a grocery store.
Exactly. Your brain can infer the rest of the context instantly.
Okay, I love the efficiency of that, but I have to push back here for a second.
Go for it.
Isn't it incredibly risky to intentionally ignore the small words? I mean, grammar completely changes meaning. For example, what if the sentence is, I bought milk, versus I should have bought milk?
Okay. I see what you're saying.
The heavy lifters buy and milk are exactly the same in both, but the outcome is entirely different. In one scenario, we have milk for our coffee. In the other, we are drinking it black.
Right, right.
So if we filter out the small words, don't we risk complete misunderstandings?
It's a brilliant question. And honestly, it's the exact fear that keeps learners clinging to word-by-word translation.
It feels safer.
It does. But here is where the neuroscience of auditory processing comes in. You aren't actually becoming deaf to the small words.
Okay.
You're just shifting your active focus. Native speakers naturally place vocal stress. They literally raise their pitch and volume on the big content words.
Oh, yeah.
The smaller function words. They're spoken quickly and quietly. When you train yourself to anchor onto the stressed words, your brain actually uses those as a framework.
To kind of fill in the blanks.
Exactly. It retroactively fills in the grammatical blanks based on context.
So the supermarket buy milk anchor gives my brain the context it needs to subconsciously process the should have without me having to actively translate it in real time.
Precisely. If you miss the anchors, you have nothing. But if you catch the anchors, the surrounding grammar naturally falls into place.
The text tells us to shift our goal from perfect word-for-word translation to idea comprehension.
It is a massive perspective shift. It gives you permission to let the filler just wash over you.
Okay. But this brings me to a very practical, mechanical problem.
Right.
Let's say I am completely on board. My mental suitcase is packed with only the essentials.
Ready to go.
I am standing there actively listening for those big words. Supermarket, buy.
Milk?
But what happens when native speakers talk so insanely fast that they don't leave any gaps between those words?
Yes.
The words literally crash into each other. Why does a forward sentence sound like one giant, messy word? How does my brain isolate the word buy when it feels physically glued to the word before it?
And that transition leads us directly into the second major fix from our source material. Secret 2.
Which is?
The text states a blunt truth. English words connect. Native speakers do not speak word by word. They blur the lines between them.
Which is why the English you study in a textbook sounds like a completely different language than the English you hear on the streets of New York or London.
Exactly. Because in written English, there is a literal physical white space between the word did and the word you.
Right.
In a beginner's listening exercise, the voice actor honors that white space. They pause. But in conversational English, the human mouth prioritizes efficiency.
It's lazy.
It is. It wants to take the path of least physical resistance. So those spaces completely disappear, and the acoustic boundaries of the words just merge.
Let's get into the mechanics of this, because the DFY channel gives a perfect example.
Okay, let's hear it.
The phrase is, did you eat? 3 very distinct words. Did you eat?
Yep.
But the script points out that native speakers condense this heavily into something that sounds like, did you eat?
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's look at the acoustic phonetics of what is actually happening in the mouth there. It's a process called assimilation.
Assimilation. Okay.
You have the D sound at the end of did, right? Which requires you to tap your tongue against the ridge, just behind your teeth.
Uh-huh.
And then you have the Y sound at the start of you, which requires you to raise the middle of your tongue to the roof of your mouth.
Doing both of those distinct movements at high speed, that's actually a lot of muscular work for the jaw and tongue.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the brain basically tells the mouth, cut the corner.
Just skip it.
Right. Instead of making a clean D followed by a clean Y, the mouth meets in the middle and creates a completely new sound. The affricate J. Did you?
Wow.
If your brain's auditory cortex is desperately scanning the sound waves for did space you, it will simply never find it.
Because it doesn't exist.
Exactly. It won't recognize did you, and you will experience that exact movie-watching freeze.
Here is where it gets really fascinating, because it's not just a quirk of one specific phrase. This blurring effect is systemic.
Oh, absolutely.
The second example from the text is the phrase, what are you doing? 4 words. What are you doing?
Right.
But when spoken naturally, it mutates. It turns into, what ya doing?
Watcha. This is a masterclass in phonetic reduction.
Write that down for us.
First, you have that same assimilation we just talked about. The T in what and the Y in you smashed together to create a CH sound.
Okay, makes sense.
But then you have something else. Elision.
Elision, meaning things are just being completely dropped.
Exactly. The word R is an unstressed grammatical filler word. So the native speaker's mouth barely even forms it.
And it just vanishes.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
The vowel is reduced to what linguists call a schwa. It's the laziest sound in the English language, just a generic sound.
So what are you compresses into whatcha?
It goes from 4 distinct beats down to 2 blurry ones.
What you doing? I want to try an experiment right now because the source material is highly interactive and it encourages the listener to physically practice this.
Yes, you have to feel it.
We need to physically feel the difference in cognitive and muscular load. So, wherever you are listening right now, I want you to repeat after me. Say, "Did you eat?" out loud in a robotic word-by-word voice. Did you eat?
Notice how much your jaw actually has to move up and down to articulate those distinct words clearly.
Right. It requires effort.
Okay, now repeat after me the blurred way. Did you eat?
Did you eat?
You can physically feel your tongue doing half the work. The jaw barely moves. Okay, now try repeating this. What are you doing? Feel the rhythm.
Very clunky.
Now switch it. Repeat after me what you're doing.
It just rolls out effortlessly.
And that physical realization is the key to unlocking conversational English, isn't it?
It really is. When you are shocked by the sheer speed of native speakers, you are often just being tricked by connected speech.
They aren't actually speaking faster.
No, they're just taking phonetic shortcuts. Once you understand the mechanics of the illusion, once you expect the words to connect and blur these messy sounds, stop being chaotic noise.
They become highly predictable patterns.
It really is like realizing how a magic trick works. Once you know that the magician has a card hidden in his sleeve, you aren't fooled by the flourish of his other hand anymore.
You know where to look.
Right. You start expecting to hear "watcha" instead of being confused by it. But as we know, intellectually understanding a magic trick is very different from being able to perform it.
Knowing that a piano has 88 keys does not mean your hands know how to play a Beethoven sonata.
Precisely. Knowing the theory of big words and connected speech isn't enough to stop the brain freeze in real time. The physical mechanics of your ear and your auditory processing centers must be conditioned.
Which brings us to the third and final fix from the DFY Channel script. Secret 3.
The daily ear gym.
Yes, you must train your ears every day. The text frames this not as a study tip, but as a behavioral requirement, and I love the metaphor it uses here.
That listening is exactly like going to the gym.
Yes.
I love that analogy too, because it removes the pressure of being smart and replaces it with being conditioned. Your ears need training, just like your biceps do.
You don't walk into a gym, lift a heavy weight once, and say, "Cool, I'm strong forever now, I never need to lift again."
And conversely, you don't expect to walk into the gym on day one and deadlift 400 pounds. You have to build the muscle over time.
Right. And in the context of language, we are talking about neuroplasticity. When you encounter connected speech like "whatcha," your brain lacks the neural pathways to map that sound to the words "what are you?"
So the script gives a very specific prescription for building those pathways. It says just 10 minutes a day helps enormously.
Just 10 minutes.
It's not advocating for exhausting 3-hour marathon study sessions where you stare at a textbook until your eyes bleed. It's about consistent, daily, targeted exposure.
Because that is how the brain prefers to learn. 10 minutes a day of focused auditory processing is vastly superior to a single 3-hour block once a week.
And the text breaks this 10-minute workout down into a specific 3-step feedback loop. Listen, repeat, listen again.
Let's dissect why that specific loop works neurologically.
Yeah.
Listen is the setup you hear the native speaker say, "whatcha."
Repeat is the exertion phase. This is crucial, right?
Yes. By forcing your own mouth to make those phonetic shapes and your own ears to hear your own voice producing the blurred sound, you are engaging both your motor cortex and your auditory cortex simultaneously.
You are physically feeling the shortcut the native speaker is taking. And then the final step, listen again.
That is the consolidation phase. You go back to the original native audio. Now that your brain has mapped the physical mouth movement to the sound, when you hear the native speaker say "whatcha" again,
Yeah.
your brain recognizes it instantly.
Because it just built the bridge.
Exactly. That repetition is what thickens the myelin around your neural pathways. You are literally rewiring your brain's hardware to decode English on the fly.
Okay, so we've covered the theory of the big content words. We've mapped out the physical mechanics of connected speech. We've talked about the neuroplasticity of the daily ears gem.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. And our source text actually features a quick listening test to synthesize these ideas. I think we should run that test right now to see how these concepts function in real time.
I love this idea. This is the perfect way to bring the acoustic theory into practical reality. Let's see how the brain parses a seemingly simple sentence.
All right, I am going to deliver the test sentence from the script at a natural conversational pace. I don't want you to worry about translating every syllable. I want you to lean back, let the grammar wash over you, and listen purely for the big words.
Just catch the anchors.
Here we go. I want to drink coffee.
Let's give that a second to settle.
I want to drink coffee.
So, if we break down the sound waves of what was just spoken, a native speaker almost never says a crisp, I want to.
No, never.
The T in want and the T in emerge, and the vowel reduces to a schwa. It becomes uwana.
Right. I want to drink coffee. The front half of the sentence is entirely blurred.
But if you applied the filtering technique, your brain didn't panic at the blur of uwana. Instead, your auditory cortex lit up on the two words that were stressed.
Drink and coffee.
Drink, coffee. If your brain isolated those two words, you successfully completed the test. Great job.
That means you understood the absolute core idea.
You bypassed the grammatical packing peanuts, you navigated the connected speech of wanna, and you grasped the transaction. The core desire is contained entirely in the concepts of drinking and coffee.
It really demystifies the whole process when you look at it from a mechanical level. You realize that native speakers aren't these linguistic supercomputers processing complex grammar at light speed.
Not at all. They are just incredibly lazy with their mouths, and their brains are highly optimized to only care about the heavy lifting words.
Exactly. They are relying on acoustic shortcuts and contextual assumptions, which is exactly what the learner needs to start doing.
It really levels the playing field.
So when we pull all of these threads together, what is the ultimate takeaway of this deep dive? The final overarching message drawn straight from the DFY Channel script is a powerful encouragement. Do not panic when English sounds incredibly fast.
Because panic is the absolute enemy of comprehension. The moment you panic, your amygdala flares up, your working memory shuts down, and your ability to process language drops to zero.
So the protocol is clear. Step 1, drop the panic. Acknowledge that you aren't failing to hear the words. The words literally aren't there in the way you expect them to be.
Step 2, stop trying to catch the packing peanuts. Listen strictly for those key big content words to anchor your understanding.
Step 3, anticipate the blur. Expect the words to crash into each other through assimilation and elision. Look for the whatcha and the did you.
And finally, step 4, get in the gym. Dedicate just 10 minutes a day to that listen, repeat, listen again feedback loop to physically rewire your neural pathways.
If you commit to that mechanical approach, that seemingly impossible wall of muddy, fast English will eventually become transparent. As the script promises, it will become easy English.
It's a total paradigm shift. You weren't bad at listening, you were just trying to listen to the wrong things, using the wrong acoustic metrics.
Which brings up a really fascinating, broader implication.
Oh.
Yeah, we've been analyzing this strictly within the framework of learning a foreign language. But think about the underlying cognitive mechanics here.
Identifying anchors, ignoring filler.
Right, and training the brain to filter signal from noise.
That's a powerful skill set.
If treating our auditory processing like a muscle using just 10 minutes of targeted repetition can completely rewire how we decode a foreign language, what might happen if we consciously applied this exact same keyword filtering technique to our own native language?
Oh, wow. That is a brilliant point. I mean, think about sitting in a chaotic, hour-long corporate meeting.
Or watching a relentless 24-hour news broadcast. We are constantly overwhelmed by an absolute avalanche of native language packing peanuts.
We really are. We experience information overload in our mother tongue all the time. Imagine the mental clarity you could achieve if you actively trained your brain to stop processing every single piece of corporate jargon or political filler.
And instead, only listen for the heavy-lifting, actionable words in your own life.
Just filtering out the noise and isolating the supermarket buy milk of a Tuesday morning marketing meeting.
That is an incredibly powerful tool for cognitive load management, no matter what language you are speaking.
Definitely.
Something to seriously mull over the next time you feel overwhelmed by a wall of sound.